This is the Sixth Man Show, an Orlando Magic podcast, with your hosts, Kevin Tucker and Jonathan Osborne, covering all things Magic basketball. By fans, for fans. Go Magic! What's going on, Orlando Magic fans? You guys are back with the Sixth Man Show. Today is October 13th, 2025. Jonathan Osborne here, as always, joined by my co-host, Kevin Tucker. Kevin, the Magic are 3-0 in the preseason world champs. What's going on?
Yo, here we are. Undefeated still. We talked about it on the last episode. I don't even remember the quote at the end of the show, but hey, we haven't lost yet, still rolling. And all three of them pretty convincing. You know, you can't take a lot away from preseason. But what I can take away is that our third and fourth stringers are better than every other team's third and fourth stringers right now. And so if that means something, great. If it doesn't, I don't know. But hey, you can't argue with 3-0. The stats don't lie. But yeah, it's feeling good. Feeling good so far. How are you?
Feeling very good. 18 points is the Magic's point differential right now, which is good for third in the league. I mean, the Clippers, I'm assuming they played some kind of international team because they won by 47. They played one game. The Pelicans, they played two games. So the Magic, in terms of the teams that are 3-0, they do have the best point differential in the league. Want to let you all know really quickly that this episode is brought to you by Tim McDermott, Luis Rosario, Next Napa, Himlo, Banchero, and Eduardo Sanchez. These are some of our Hall of Fame and elite tier patrons. They went to patreon.com/the Sixth Man Show, picked the tier that was right for them. We give a special shout out to our elite and Hall of Fame tier patrons each and every episode, and brand new patrons whenever we have them. So if you want a shout out like that, you want to support the show, head on over to patreon.com/the Sixth Man Show. Kevin, we have two games to talk about since the last episode. The win over the Philadelphia 76ers on Friday, and the win is, we're recording this Sunday night, over the dirty, stinking, freaking Miami Heat. Full disclaimer, I did not get to watch Friday's game. One of our patrons, shout out to the Abraham fam, had me and a buddy out to a charity golf scramble on Friday at Eagle Creek. Got to hang out with him and got to meet another one of our patrons. I didn't even tell you this, Kevin. Joshua Beckett. I got to meet Joshua Beckett, got to meet his dad on the driving range. Nice. Had a great time and was trying to listen to the game on the way home. But Kevin had to educate me before we started recording, because as I got closer to good old Homosassa, I listened to like the first half of the game, and then beginning of the third quarter, as I got closer to the house, I heard Brandon Kravitz's voice telling me that I was outside of the radio range to be able to listen to the game for free.
Yeah.
And I got freaking blacked out on the internet or the internet radio, whatever. I didn't even know that was possible. So I've seen highlights from this game, but I am 100% going to be leaning on Kevin's four eyes that watched this game here.
Wow. I'd be mad, except you're wearing glasses tonight too, so I can't really be mad. But yeah, that's the NBA for you. Yeah, the NBA has the audio rights as well. So if you wanted to listen to the game, online like that, once you get out of that little radius, you have to get NBA League Pass, which includes audio, which I enjoy. Being out of market, I can listen to Jake Chapman whenever I want. But unfortunately, if you're not in Central Florida, that's the only way to do it. So, but anyway, Friday's game. We saw Desmond Bane in this one and Paolo Banchero, which we didn't see Sunday, which obviously we'll talk about that in a little bit. But who we did see for the first time was Franz Wagner. Franz making his preseason debut on Friday. Before we talk about the Magic, in case everyone forgets, like me sometimes, you go away for the summer and you're just like, you kind of just think about the Magic all summer, at least if you're like me, that's what you do. And then there's this guy named Tyrese Maxey who just reminds you how stinking good he is. Tyrese Maxey is so good. He's really good. He's the best player in Philadelphia, if you ask me right now, just because Embiid, he's not a basketball player because he doesn't play basketball anymore. So, but yeah, Tyrese Maxey is the best basketball player in the state of Pennsylvania. Anyway, he was great in the first quarter, really torched the Magic. But from a Magic perspective, the story of this game, similar to a big storyline in game one and similar to a storyline in game three, Wendell Carter Jr. was outrageous in this game, had 20 and 13 in 20 minutes, a 20-point, 13 rebound double-double for Wendell on Friday. 6 of 8 from the field, 8 of 9 from the line. He got 9 free throws in 20 minutes. The resurgence of Wendell Carter Jr. this preseason has been quite something, and I know, again, we'll talk about that in a little bit. Outside of that, other things from this game, Desmond Bane, pretty quiet. Didn't do a whole lot offensively. Just 8 points for him. 2 of 6 from the field. Did not knock down a 3. 0 of 2 from 3. Paolo was not great either. Just 13 points for him. Not very efficient from the field. We did mention Franz, but he just played the 20 minutes. Did not get into double figures. Only 8 points for him. But then obviously, just like the other games that we've seen so far this preseason, it's the bench unit, the second and third stringers, and even some of the fourth stringers that really, did the damage for this team. Jace Richardson continues to be a big storyline. Did not miss from the field in this game. 2 of 2 from 3 as well for 9 points. But Tristan was great. Anthony Black had a little bit of a bounce back performance after that first game in Puerto Rico. But I thought AB was much better on Friday against Philly. Goga was really good. Noah Penda was pretty good. And it was enough to see the Magic win by a lot once again, 128-98 over a pretty woeful Philadelphia 76ers team. We talked about it beforehand. We knew that was going to be the case with the Sixers just because of the guys that they've got out and because of just the roster in general. It's just not a good team outside of, Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid. And they got, what's his name? VJ Edgecombe, the rookie, but he didn't play in this game either. So those are my thoughts from Friday. A very convincing win. And yeah, some good signs, some stuff that might be a little concerning. We can talk about that in a little bit. Those are my initial thoughts from Friday.
Yeah, if you haven't seen their list of inactives, Kyle Lowry, Paul George, Joel Embiid, Quentin Grimes, Trenton Watford, Jared McCain, and VJ Edgecombe. That's like most of their starting lineup and probably like their first, 1 or 2 guys off the bench. Really like Kelly Oubre, Tyrese Maxey, Andre Drummond are probably some of the only guys that played in this game who are going to see rotation minutes this year. Tyrese Maxey, 3 of 6 from behind the arc, 7 of 14, all of that in the first quarter, played the entire first quarter, 17 points in 12 minutes. Like I was listening to Jake Chapman on the radio, the beginning of that, and like could tell that Maxey was giving us the business. But then, Wendell Carter, like you mentioned, 20 points, 13 rebounds. NBA.com, always slow to update, but especially here. You know what? They heard me talking smack because now they have updated. I looked at this 2 minutes ago, wasn't updated. Now it's updated. So Wendell Carter Jr. so far through 3 games in the preseason, 15.9 minutes per game, 14 points, 7.3 rebounds, shooting 65% from the floor and 60% from behind the arc. Don't know if all of that is going to continue and hold up, but he's been phenomenal through 3 games. Like has been the Magic's best player, most consistent player through the first 3 games. And if you look at the Philadelphia 76ers starting lineup, it was Tyrese Maxey, Justin Edwards, Kelly Oubre, Dominic Barlow, and Adem Bona, with Andre Drummond, Hunter Salas, Jabari Walker, Kennedy Chandler, Johnny Broome, and Amani Bates, Malcolm Hill coming off the bench. A lot of who he play for guys, like future who he play for candidates in this game. So the Magic took care of business. The one thing that I don't like that is continuing to be a trend here in the preseason was 20 turnovers. Like I tweeted this out. Let's see. It was how many? It was 15 against, or no, I'm sorry. It was 19 against Miami. Not great. Tweeted this out. Every season under Jamal Mosley, the Magic have been bottom half of the league a lot of years, bottom 10 in the league in terms of turnovers. And we're talking about, playing, with more pace, but making quick decisions, but making good decisions. The Magic were, and I know the team was a little bit different, the first 3 quarters of the year before the deadline in 2020, 2021, but the Magic finished 5th that season in terms of turnovers and just have been really careless with the basketball under Jamal Mosley. And if they're going to take the next step, team needs to learn how to take care of the basketball. You're giving the other team way too many opportunities. So that has continued to be a trend in preseason. I know we're going to talk a little like big picture stuff through 3 games of the preseason, but that was the main thing that stuck out to me looking at the box score against the 76ers. And like you had mentioned, Desmond Bane, a little bit quiet, didn't play in this one. It's preseason. I'm not going to start getting super worried about individual players who we've seen get it done in the regular season and get it done in the postseason for 5-6 seasons now, like a guy like Desmond Bane has. Anything else specific that you wanted to cover from this game before we jump on over to Sunday's game?
I don't think so. Again, like you said, I've got some big picture stuff, but yeah, let's move to Sunday and then we'll talk about that stuff in a little bit.
Okay, Sunday against the Miami Heat. The Magic seeing them for the second time in like a week and a half. But this time, not in Puerto Rico. This time in Kia Center. First time that we get to see the brand new floor of Kia. Get to see the wonderful video board. We haven't really talked about that since photos have started to come out. And obviously we saw it a ton tonight as people were getting into the building and everybody's posting photos. Like they couldn't have done a better job, in my opinion. Like it's exactly what you would want. It goes all the way around. Even if you're sitting on the floor, they've got the video board, in the inside of it. So if you're obviously the players can look up and see what's going on. It's way bigger. It's way cooler looking. I think they did a phenomenal job with it.
It's a terrific jumbotron. It's just terrific.
Luke Sylvia is going to hate that.
Just kidding. No, it's great. I love that. I love the new boards that are around the room as well, not just the center hang, if you will. That's great. Obviously, I know we couldn't tell watching on TV, but I know also there's a new sound system as well, and so those things take a lot of time. By the way, like if you went to the game tonight, I guarantee you there's a lot of tweaks that have to be made after tonight. Especially when it comes to sound stuff, because things change when you have 18,000 people in a room, like the way sound works and how it bounces off of things and how it's absorbed and stuff like that. And so, but yeah, I'm sure that's going to be dialed in the more games that we have. But visually, it just looks great. The court looks great. Wearing the whites, I love the whites, obviously. But when they wear like the all white, where like guys, Jonathan's wearing it today. When they go in with like the white shoes as well, and it's just like white socks, white shoes with those shirts and the whole uniform combo, I think it's clean. It's so sick, and I love it against the blue. I wonder if that was like a little sneak peek to opening night. You feel like they're going to wear those opening night against Miami.
What I'm looking at now, trying to see if they Locker Vision has it up yet.
Good question. Probably not. Though. Last I checked, it wasn't.
Probably not.
It wasn't, but that would be cool. But anyway, yeah, I think it looks great. And yeah, I'm definitely curious to see on Thursday.
It's still showing all the old jerseys, by the way.
I pulled it up as well.
Yeah,
this is last year's schedule.
We didn't mention from Friday's game that we got to look at the Blues.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts on that? Because I've seen a couple of clips, but I didn't get to see it in real time like you did.
I think I tweeted this during the game Friday that I think most people thought, I shouldn't say most, a lot of people thought the Blues were the weakest of the three. But I thought they looked terrific in game. I really did. I thought they looked even better on the players in game than like on me right now. But anyway, yeah, I thought it was great. A lot of people still, talk about maybe the word mark itself is too small, and maybe it is. I think that's maybe fair, but all in all, I think it looks great. And again, if all we're comparing about is the size of the word mark, like that just goes to show you how good this is, but also like just a reminder, it could have been so much worse. So like I'm totally cool with it. I think it looks great. And now there's only one jersey left to see, the statements. Cannot wait to see those. I don't know when we'll be able to get our hands on those, but that'll be cool too, because I definitely need to get me a Paolo statement jersey. That'd be sick. But yeah, it was good.
I'm looking, just going back and watching more highlights of the game to see pay more attention to the jerseys. One thing that pops that doesn't exactly pop in the whites is the star on the shorts.
On the shorts, yeah, I thought the same thing.
Now, when the guys are running up and down the floor, you can't really see it, but like when they're shooting free throws or, that's kind of closer angles, it really stands out. Yeah. But the star on the shorts in the Blues really jumps out at you. And when they're running around, I'm not looking at the word mark. Yeah, but the pinstripes just look so clean when when they're running around and everything. So those look really good. And I thought the video board looked great. I'm looking forward to hearing. I'll be at the game on Thursday. Which, if you're going to be at the game Thursday, our guy Christian, who's taking over for Ben on the Six Fan Show this year, he's making his debut as Kevin and Sam and Matt have been getting some preseason reps in with the post game live. We're going to get Christian some preseason reps with the Six Fan Show. So if you're going to be at that game, I will be at that game. And then afterwards, we'll be outside Kia with Christian filming the first episode of the Six Fan Show. So be sure to stop by. But I'm looking forward to see that. Before we talk about the Heat game, I guess Jason Beatty reported, the Magic didn't really announce, but Beatty reported that basically when it comes to the PA job, what the Magic are doing is these final 2 home preseason games, they're having 2 guys essentially like audition.
Yeah.
One gentleman was tonight, which we can talk about, and there will be another Thursday at the game. I did see some videos and heard some of the clips. The one glaring thing is that it's not Paul Porter, right? Yeah. Like, we have to get over that as much as we want it to be Paul Porter and wish that it was Paul Porter. And it is going to take some time of it not being Paul Porter because it's been Paul Porter for 36 years, right? Yeah. It's just not going to be the same. It's never going to be the same. Games aren't going to feel exactly the same. They're not going to sound the same. My opinion is that we can't really hold that against the new guy, whoever that is, coming into like trying to do a job.
Yeah.
And we just kind of have to let him, whoever it ends up being, like let him make it his own thing. Now, one thing that I didn't really think about is that like the stand and cheer for the fourth quarter. As much as that is Paul Porter's thing, that's a Magic thing. Like I think you have to have that at the games.
That's right.
I know you were probably, when I watch the games, especially on TV, when you're at the arena, it's a little bit different because you're in that environment. But when I'm watching the game on TV, I'm not paying attention to the PA guy. Like even Paul Porter, for the most part, I'm watching the game for a moment. I wasn't really like listening for Paul Porter. You though watch things with or listen to things with a keen your musical ear. You hear everything, especially like these live production kind of things. What did you think? Because as of right now, I don't really have an opinion on the job that the guy did on Sunday night.
Yeah, so I listened extra closely tonight because I knew what was going on, and so I was definitely curious. Plus, for people that are in Central Florida, if you don't know, if you have the highest tier of League Pass, NBA League Pass, which I do, you can have the option.
Money.
Yeah, no. Hey, League Pass is way cheaper than it used to be, by the way. It used to be way too much money. Now it's $160 for a whole season is not bad. To watch your favorite team. That's cheaper than
to try to watch your favorite team. Yeah.
No, it works. It works now. I
don't know.
FanDuel Sports is $20 a month. It's cheaper for me to watch the Magic. Anyway, that's a whole different thing. What were we talking about? Okay, PA announcer. What I was going to say was on NBA League Pass, instead of watching commercials, you get to watch the in-arena feed. And so I got to hear a lot. I got to hear the pregame introductions. I got to hear little ad reads and stuff, typical stuff during timeouts at games and stuff. So I got to hear a lot. And my first thought is this, like my overarching thought is this, very similar to what you said. We can't want the next person to be another Paul Porter. That's not how this works. Like the next person has to be their own thing. Now, are there certain aspects of Paul Porter's aura, if you will, that maybe need to be continued? Maybe, yeah. Or maybe if they're already a Magic fan or have been around the organization, there are certain things that they came to admire about how Paul Porter announced games that he might want to grab. Sure. But we can't sit here and just want a rinse and repeat of Paul Porter. That's just not how it works. It's not going to be good for anybody. As much as we love Paul Porter, that's just not good.
It's not even fair to Paul to do that.
It's not fair to Paul. It's not fair to the new person. It's not fair to any of that. This next person has to make this their own. They have to. As for tonight, again, we don't even know who this guy is. This guy may listen to the show. I don't know if he's local, from far away. Who knows? I'm not going to sit here and nitpick necessarily because, like I said, I want this person to make it their own. Are there some things that I didn't prefer? Yeah. But how much of that is me just being, my brain's been trained and conditioned to hear Magic games called a certain way, and it wasn't tonight? I don't know. So I'm not going to sit here and like totally pass judgment and say total success, total failure. It's just not what I'm going to do tonight. But the whole stand and cheer for your Orlando Magic, because it's the fourth quarter, the Star Wars music, that has to stay. It absolutely has to stay. And I was shocked when I read that it didn't happen tonight. Like, that is messed up. Like, that blew me away. I couldn't believe it. Because yes, that's a Paul Porter like saying, but that moment belongs to Magic fans. That belongs to us. And that sounds very selfish. Maybe it is. Sue me. That is a very special moment, a borderline sacred moment for this, borderline religion of following Magic basketball. And darn it, don't you take that away from us. Don't you do it.
That has been around way longer than Play the Song.
Yeah.
Right? Like, if you're making me pick, if I can only have one, I want Stand and Cheer. Like, that is a quintessential, like, part of the experience of going to a Magic game, and it sets the tone for the fourth quarter, especially when it's a big game. Like, it literally sets the tone for the fourth quarter and for the rest of the game. It has to be there. And I don't mean any disrespect to Paul Porter. I don't mean any disrespect to, whoever is in charge of like making those decisions, or is it on the PA guy if he wants to do that? Like, I'm assuming that's like a team effort to make that moment happen.
That's right.
It has to happen. It has to be. It's borderline unforgivable if it's not.
It's very bad. I literally, I don't want to say I don't care who the next PA announcer is, but if I'm choosing like my preferred PA announcer, whomever that might be, not that I have one in mind, but if I'm choosing between that and starting the fourth quarter the way we started the fourth quarter forever, I'm choosing that. Like, I don't care how the rest of the game sounds. Give me that moment. Like, come on. That's all. I'm going to write an email. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to write an email to the people that make these decisions, and I'm going to tell them what I think. We need that moment. That's ours.
Yeah, that's how I feel. Well, I'm looking forward to being there Thursday. I know we're not the only fans that are sharing this like feedback, in terms of like that moment needs to still happen. So hopefully they will do that. I really, really hope that they do. But I'll be there Thursday. I will be trying to pay more attention to that. And I think there were, mixed reactions. I think there were people who, especially like towards the beginning of the game, were like, oh, this dude's putting like his own kind of juice, on like the pregame, like the intros and everything like that. And then as the game went on, there were some things that I guess people, didn't care for. But one thing that I do want to caution people on is like, you can't hate it just because it's different. Right. Like, it's going to be different. And to Kevin's point, like it kind of needs to be.
It's almost time for this week's Jam Hot Chicken Jam of the Week. But first, let me tell you about our friends who are your home team on and off the court. That's Posit Group. They're not only the real estate sponsor of the Six Man Show, they're the real estate sponsor of the Orlando Magic this season. That's right. Ken Posick and his amazing team have partnered with the Magic and with us, and they have helped over 2,500 families buy and sell their homes in Orlando. And so if you are in Central Florida and you are looking to buy or sell your home, you can go to Posick.com and find more information about all that they do here in Central Florida. They are impacting lives through real estate, so let them impact your life as well. Again, if you're looking to buy or sell a home, Ken and his entire team are amazing. You won't be disappointed. Go to Posick.com and buy and sell your home through Posick Group.
And now, I think we returned it last week, but we're returning it again this week. One of our favorite segments. This week's Jam Hot Chicken Jam of the Week, brought to you by Jam Hot Chicken. We are going back to Sunday night's game, and if you watch the game, you know exactly where I'm going. To the end of the third quarter, 6.6 seconds left on the clock, 4 seconds on the shot clock. Reese Beekman passes it to Colin Castleton in the corner, who pump fakes the three, drives by his defender, goes over the top of Precious Achiuwa and jams it down with the right hand, lets out a thunderous roar. The Magic bench goes crazy, and that puts the Magic up more than they were before. I lost the score, but it was awesome. If you haven't seen it, go back and watch it. But a big shout out to our friends over at Jam Hot Chicken. not only are they serving you in Winter Park, but now also in Winter Garden with their soft opening at the Plant Street Market coming up on Tuesday the 14th from 11 to 5. Limited hours for the week, and then updated hours are going to be coming soon. So be sure to check their social media accounts for updates. You can follow them at Jam Hot Chicken on all social media. And you can go to jamhotchickenfl.com to access their menu, online ordering, music playlists, all things Jam Hot. When you order online, when you go to jamhotchickenfl.com, you go to their menu and then order online. Use code SIXTHMAN, spelled out SIXTHMAN, at checkout for 10% off every order. Not only do they support our show, but they're huge Magic fans. So whether you're in Winter Park, you're in Winter Garden, be sure to stop by either of the locations and let them know that the boys over at the Six Man Show sent you. Let's talk about the game from Sunday night. I went into this thinking that, it would be kind of, at least from memory, what we've seen in other preseasons, where the last couple of games is where you start to get closer to a game looking and being coached the way that like opening night will be. And I immediately got like freezing cold taked like an hour, 2 hours later after I tweeted like, hey, this is what I think is going to happen, because then we found out that there was going to be no Paolo, there was going to be no Desmond Bane, and that Tyus Jones, Tristan Da Silva, Jonathan Isaac, Franz Wagner, and Wendell Carter Jr. were going to be the starting five. And then that unit, you could definitely tell, hasn't played a ton together. Beginning of the game was okay, I would say. And then we kind of saw what we've seen. Maybe you can speak to this in the Philadelphia game, but especially the first game against the Heat, where the second unit took a little bit of time to get their feet under them and figure out exactly the way that they wanted to play. But in the second half, when they kind of figure that out, and especially Jett Howard, who we will talk about, we are going to talk about Jett Howard and Jace Richardson. Once those guys got going, especially in the second half, that's when the Magic were really able to, blow this game open. They end up winning this game by 16 points. But I thought Franz Wagner was mostly good. 10 of 10 at the free throw line. I thought he was doing a great job getting to the line. 3 of 8 from the floor, still maybe knocking off a little bit of preseason rust. Wendell was awesome again, 12 points in 13 minutes, 43 seconds, had 4 rebounds, 2 threes, I think had, was it like 10 of the Magic's first 12 points in this game, if I'm remembering correctly. Tristan Da Silva, really, really good, 11 points, 4 of 9 from the floor. Tyus Jones, I don't know if we want to jump into like the big picture stuff. Through 3 games, not loving what I'm seeing, especially with that starting lineup. Just has not been good. Yeah. Not been good. Like 1 assist, 2 turnovers in this game, and like 2 bad turnovers. Like, I don't know what's going on there. Maybe he's just going to be better playing with the second unit. I think there are some guys in Anthony Black and Jace Richardson, and maybe sprinkle a little bit of Jett Howard in there, that might have something to say about, hey, what's going on with these bench minutes when everybody is whole and healthy here. But I thought it was another mostly solid game from Jace Richardson. The shots weren't quite going in the same way, but had some good moments. And then Jett Howard, through 3 games, has been really, really solid for the Magic yet again. And I don't remember ever, whether it be Summer League, preseason, regular season, whatever, where we could say like Jett Howard has looked like a legitimate rotation NBA player 3 straight games. Well, again, in this one, for me, it was the turnovers. 19 turnovers for the Magic. Don't have how many points they conceded off of turnovers. I'll pull that up in a minute. But to me, that has been like the biggest, I don't want to say like concern that I have, because again, it's preseason. Regular season could look way different. We still have not seen like a real full game of these guys playing together, like Franz and Desmond and Paolo getting a ton of minutes together. That's probably the biggest issue that I've had so far in the preseason. But let's see, I've got it right here. Points conceded off of turnovers, 27. That's too much.
Yep, too many. But I mean, that's Miami. I mean, they're always going to do that.
Yeah, but this wasn't Miami, dude. Like, we're talking about.
I know, but it's still the
Myron
Spoelstra
Gardner
way.
And Jameer Young.
It's still the Spoelstra way, to force turnovers and to get out and score on them. Yeah, for me, first off, I want to talk about Chase Richardson because tonight was the first time in his long illustrious preseason career of 3 games, in which he was given more time, but also more attention, like more focus offensively. In the first 2 games, he was very much playing off of whomever was around him, but tonight, he played a lot more minutes and played more of a focal point. To the point I'm trying to make with that is felt like he felt the need to force a few things tonight. He ends up taking 12 shots tonight. Some of them pretty forced. Some of them were the result of some pretty bad offense that we saw from that unit. I love that you tweeted like parts of tonight from that unit offensively were good, and then parts of you said something else. It was more clever, more funny. What was less good? Yeah,
like the bench unit has there's been some really good and there's been some really bad.
Exactly.
Like there was
really,
no like, oh, okay, they're
really
kind of fine.
good.
It was like they were either awesome or they were awful.
Right. And sometimes I felt like Jace got caught like with the grenade at the end of a possession or whatever. So 4 of 12 from the field. For me, the number though it's important. He was still 40% from 3. He had that the 2 threes, back-to-back threes in the third quarter. I think it was the third quarter. That was a really, really fun stretch there for the Magic.
The third.
Yeah, at the beginning of the third. Yeah. So that was really cool. I think Jace is, again, just blowing me away with his play so far. I do kind of want to talk about like Tyus Jones, which, like you said, does kind of blend into big picture stuff. Like I have not seen anything in 3 games from Tyus Jones that I've gone, yes, that's a glimpse of what we brought you here for. It's preseason. He's a veteran. He's also playing with the starters, which we don't expect him to do that when the team is fully healthy. And so how much can you really take away from it? I don't know. But I thought by now through 3 games, again, small sample size, especially because of the number of minutes he's playing, but I would have thought by now that I would have seen a moment or two and gone, again, that's why he's here. And it makes me a little bit concerned because by many accounts, he did not have a great season last year in Phoenix. Now, Phoenix was a dumpster fire last year. And so how much do I want to take away from that? Just being on Tyus, I downplayed it. And I hope I wasn't wrong. And again, I'm not going to overreact. Those are just some thoughts that are in my mind. And I'm very curious to see how Tyus does once the calendar turns from preseason to regular season. Do you share similar thoughts about Tyus, or where are you with him?
Yeah, well, and again, like context matters. Like don't just take this stat at face value. But out of 19 players who have seen the floor for the Magic, Tyus is averaging the fewest points per game. Mm-hmm. And he's averaging 10th in minutes per game. So that's not great. But again, you and I talked as the Penny footage was coming out from preseason that if he were to play in the starting unit, he's most likely like that 5th option. Like he's in the DJ Augustine, kind of role from like those 2019, 2020 teams. But it's still not great. Like he's shooting 27% from the floor, 28% from 3. And I don't really blame him a lot because he's not getting like a ton of looks. Like he's 2.3 threes per game. And that's like the bulk of his field goal attempts, like 3.7 attempts, 2.3 of those have been from behind the arc. My biggest issue so far with preseason, and it's might be something that's really not consequential whatsoever. So please don't hear what I'm about to say and try to like paint this team with like this broad brush of like, oh my gosh, we're going to be terrible when the regular season starts, because I don't think that's the case. What I think is happening is obviously we're getting way more practice time in than we are seeing these guys in games. So the time that they're getting to play together and try to build that chemistry, in my opinion, and what my hope is that it's coming in these practices. It's coming in training camp. They've talked about how much they're getting up and down the floor, how much they've been actually playing and scrimmaging in these training camps. So that is my perception of what we're getting right now is we're not getting a ton of time of seeing these guys on the floor together in these preseason games. Now, we absolutely need to see it on Thursday. Like if we don't see it on Thursday, to me, it's like it's really a wasted opportunity. And I would even argue that this Miami game was a bit of a wasted opportunity. I don't like the idea of waiting until the last preseason game to start treating the rotation and the minutes like a real game. Now, are you going to play guys 38 minutes and 40 minutes and go all out and try to win these games? No, but I just think we need to see more of these guys playing together. I don't love the idea that so far the bulk of the playing groups that are actually going to play in meaningful games are playing against each other in practice when we have opportunities to see what it looks like against other teams. Now, the reason that I say this is because, like, look what Miami did. Miami literally did the exact same thing tonight, and we all know that Eric Spoelstra is one of the best coaches in the league. So this is just kind of, the way that they're choosing to do things. And maybe I'm misremembering the way that other preseasons have gone, but that's where my level of concern is right now. There's so much that we don't know about, like, what is the rotation actually going to look like? Like, what does Tristan da Silva look like playing with, Desmond Bain and Anthony Black and Goga Batadze? We haven't seen that at all. And I don't know necessarily that's the way that the second unit is going to run, but we know there is going to hopefully be some version of these guys being staggered. And I just think that especially Franz, Desmond, and Paolo need as much reps together as they can get, because it's not like, oh, Jalen's out, we're just going to swap in Tristan or Tyus or Anthony Black. It's like in these games, you've got three guys playing in the starting lineup tonight in Jonathan Isaac, Tristan da Silva, and Tyus Jones, that when this team is healthy, those guys aren't ever going to be on the floor with Wendell and Franz Wagner for the most part. So to me, it's like, it kind of feels like a missed opportunity in that regard. And it's really hard to gauge what we're seeing when we're not even seeing half of the puzzle come together right now. Like, we're seeing like 25% of the whole puzzle of what we're going to see in the regular season right now. And to their credit, the coaching staff doesn't really owe anything to us at this point. Right. Their job is to get this team ready for the regular season. So when these games count in, 9 days as this episode is coming out, something like that, that's when this team needs to look really good. But I was hoping that we would, now again, we're 3-0, but again, this team hasn't really looked like what it's going to look like in the regular season. I was kind of hoping that we were just going to have somewhat of a, resemblance of the regular season rotation, and we're going to be killing everybody. So it's like, man, this is going to be great. And it's getting us even more excited for the regular season, where we're having a little bit of that like delayed gratification right now because we're not exactly getting what we want. But it's not the coaching staff's job to give us what we want in the preseason. It's their job to give us what we want when the games count.
Right. Here are my thoughts. Some overarching stuff from preseason so far. Optically, just watching the games, I have not felt that the starters have really excelled in this new pace setup. That's like one of the first things I have felt. Like, you can tell they are really trying to push the pace because, again, as everyone has said, the Magic were last in pace last year. Slowest team in the league. We all know it. We all saw it. We all survived it.
They're also second in defense, though.
Right, yes. So this whole initiative to push the pace, to my eyes, the starters have borderline struggled with that. Like, to me, as an untrained basketball person, untrained meaning, I've watched a lot of NBA games, but I'm not an NBA coach. Statistically, the Magic offensively, compared to the rest of the league, and again, it's preseason, so we can't put too much stock into some of these stats. But offensively, the Magic aren't abysmal compared to the rest of the league, right? Like right now, they're 5th in points per game, and that's behind. You mentioned the Clippers earlier, who played Victor Oladipo's team earlier. That's that one game they've played where they scored 142 points. Basically, of all the teams that have played 3 games, the Magic have the highest points per game. 3-point shooting is middle of the pack. I think they're 18th. Here's one thing that I thought was very interesting, Jonathan. And this is preseason or not, doesn't matter. The Magic are top of the league in free throw percentage, 83.8% at the line so far. So give the Magic credit there. That doesn't really have to do with the pace. My point, though,
the Magic are 15th in pace, by the way. Out of teams that have played at least 3 games, they are 6th in pace.
Wow, that's wild. That's really,
so it's not like they're playing at a faster pace compared to last year, but it's not like they're all of a sudden the fastest team in the league.
No,
it just feels so foreign to what we're used to.
Exactly, and that's my point. Is some of the key guys, Paolo, Franz, to me,
we are 4th in offensive rating so far.
Right, and that's the thing. That's what I'm saying. The eye test, like watching them, hasn't gone well. But the second unit, to me, feels like they have better handled pushing the pace, to me, which again plays into the whole, if you talk about the statistics, the second, third, fourth unit guys have seen the floor more than the first unit guys so far through 3 games. So that's just my initial reaction. Am I worried about it? No. We knew this was going to be a learning curve. We talked about it many times before the preseason. This was going to be a process, installing not necessarily a new offense, but a new way to play. Joe Prunty, obviously, putting his mark on this team, whatever that's going to look like. It's going to be a process. And the thing is, they have another 3 full days to work on it. Today's Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, before they play their last preseason game Thursday. And then again, they have another 6 days to work on it before the season opener on the 22nd. So those are some of my
more
initial
stats
thoughts
here for you. So when you filter it just by starting units and you sort by pace, the Magic are 24th in pace so far in preseason, but this also includes like the international teams, Melbourne United, Southeast Melbourne Phoenix, the Loong Lions and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And in offensive rating, the starting units, the Magic are 8th. So, I do think there is going to be like an adjustment period to the pace. But I just want to make sure that it's not coming at the cost of, even more turnovers. That starting unit right now, their turnover percentage would be 30th out of 34 teams that have played in the preseason. So the turnovers have been a problem. You can't just sell out for pace just for pace sake. You have to make sure that it's suiting your team. I do think having Jalen Suggs instead of Tyus Jones, a guy who can really get out and do damage in transition, will help. I also think Paolo, Franz, and Desmond playing more minutes together, Franz being one of, if not the very best transition guy on the team, I think that would go a long way. So that's what I'm looking forward to on Thursday against New Orleans. I'm trying to hold back like all of the concern that I have and hoping that the excitement that we're waiting for, we will kind of see that come to fruition on Thursday against New Orleans, because again, both of those teams should be at least like situationally treating this like it's a regular season game. Now, are they going to be playing their guys tons of minutes and, playing the starters in overtime and stuff like that? Probably not, if there is an overtime. I will say it would be cool to just go 4-0 and go unbeaten in preseason and take that into the regular season. But those are some of those are most of the concerns that I have at this point. Jonathan Isaac played 18 minutes tonight. At the end of his stints, however, he was completely gassed, like hands on the knees, bent over. Nothing looked like it was left in the tank. And I will say, he hasn't like jumped off the screen at you just yet, but he's had the defensive moments where we're like, okay, there it is, right? And he did have those last year, so it's not like to say, oh, we're totally fine, he's 100% back.
Right.
But I do think that he's still reacclimating to where he's at now. But the fact that, he played with the starters, played 18 minutes tonight, I did like that. Do we want to have the Jett Howard conversation?
I don't know if
is
there's
there a
we.
Jett Howard conversation to have?
I don't know if there's a we.
Come on,
so
man.
You can have it if you want. Go ahead.
Okay. Is there an Anthony Black conversation to be had?
Maybe. I think that's more of a conversation.
If there's an Anthony Black conversation to be had, there is absolutely a Jett Howard conversation to be had.
I'll do the Anthony Black conversation if you want to do the Jett Howard.
I would love to both of us to participate equally in both of those conversations. Yeah. Now, look, I'm not like ringing the AB alarm, but I'm not like not worried at all. Mm-hmm. Like, I just have not seen like any. Okay, that's not fair. The handle does look a little bit tighter. The shot looks better. He's had a couple of pull-up threes. He had one in this game and then had another pull-up like from the wing where I was like, okay, he hasn't been doing that. But what he's not doing is like getting to the rim more effectively whatsoever.
Yeah. And
that's really what we need from him if he's going to be the guy that we think he can be. Now, if he is just going to turn into, hey, like a Alex Caruso kind of like 3-and-D type of wing, that's fine. But then it's time to move on from him being like this like playmaking, scoring, slashing type of guard. He might just not be that, and that's fine. But if those are the hopes that we had for him this season, I haven't seen anything in a real tangible way from this preseason that leads me to believe like, oh, we're getting the leap from AB.
Yeah, I will say, I thought Friday was his best game of the preseason. I know you weren't able to watch that, so and again, I wouldn't say he was outstanding on Friday, but I thought he had a lot better moments and had a better game overall. But yeah, I'd be lying if year 3 of AB, especially with some of these lineups that he's faced in these 3 games, like we've talked about, Miami's missing a ton of guys, and they were in both games. Philadelphia, we already talked about that. Man, their roster's a mess. And Anthony Black had opportunities against some, I don't want to call them scrubs, but some guys that aren't really going to be playing minutes in the NBA. And I really wanted him to just capitalize. Not that he needed to go out there and score 20, but he needed to have some moments where, like you mentioned, he was able to get to the rim or initiate and all those kinds of things. And so far, we just haven't seen it. And again, would I say, am I like totally hitting the panic button? No. But it's a little bit of a bummer. Again, we just had pretty high expectations for him. Thought he was going to be one of the X factors this season, and we just haven't seen that yet. So, again, I'm not panicked at all by it, but I think it is definitely something that a lot of Magic fans are going to be watching very closely, as we get into the regular season.
He was 1 for 4 inside of 3 feet in that game against Philadelphia. And look, like, to be completely fair, could be as simple as rust. Yeah. Like, so he was getting there. And again, I did not watch that game, but I'm just going through like the play-by-play here. He's got, a cutting dunk shot, first couple minutes of the game. That was a dunk. And then in the second quarter, he's got a driving finger roll layup shot, which he just missed. Another driving layup that he just missed from 1 feet. And then a driving finger roll layup 2 feet in the third quarter that he missed. So all of the things that we're saying, like, again, I'm not ringing the alarm, but I'm also like, not really seeing what I wanted to see out of AB in the preseason. It could be he's been sick, something's going on, whatever. But, for you to say that, and I'm not like attacking you at all, but like for you to say that Friday was his best game and he was 3 of 9 from the floor, like that's a little bit concerning that that's been AB's best game.
Yeah, I would agree. And maybe I'm wrong on that, but just watching him play on Friday, he looked more like Anthony Black than these other 2 games.
Well, he did have 5 assists in that one.
Yeah.
So that's definitely a good positive.
Look the
so
part.
while I go
let's
through
see.
here,
Do we want to move on to Thursday's game?
No, we're talking about Jett Howard. We're talking about Jett Howard. So through 3 games in 19 minutes, Jett is averaging 10 points per game, shooting 47% from the floor, 50% from behind the arc, 2.3 rebounds, 2 assists, 1.7 turnovers, a block a game. Jett Howard has legitimately been good. Now, yes, we can talk about the lineups that he's playing against. Last couple of games, he's been the first guy in off the bench and has looked decent in those minutes. He hasn't been completely lost defensively as he's still getting beat. There were a couple of possessions tonight that I'm thinking about for sure. But we have not talked about this. I have mentioned this on this show that when he has the ball, like he does have good offensive feel for, is it my turn to take a shot, where the ball should go next? And he's been making good passes and he's been knocking down shots. Like he found found Jace on that first 3 in the third quarter tonight that really got them going. And then Jace had another 3 the next play. And then Jett followed that up by getting to the rim, making the layup, forcing Eric Spoelstra to call a timeout, the 8-2 run to start the third quarter. Jett has looked like an NBA player. And I know that that's not like the biggest compliment in the world, but for this guy who 2 weeks ago, we thought there was no chance in the world that he would be in the rotation this year. This was probably for sure going to be his last year on the team. Whatever, they were going to look to move him at some point. Who knows? Like the little bit of Jett Howard stock that I had, sitting in the drawer that I wasn't telling you about because I was embarrassed to let my friends know I was still holding on to this little bit of hope over here. It's not only does it have a pulse, like it's up and jumping around again a little bit. Jett has been like legitimately good in these games. Maybe he's not been Jace Richardson, not saying that, but has he looked at the bare minimum just as good as Anthony Black? Yes. And I didn't think that we would ever be able to say that. Again, people are going to hate that we're going to say this because they got annoyed on the last episode. Small sample size, but like it's not nothing.
Yeah. No, I agree. Jett has been good, which is that's a big deal. And I don't
like good for Jett, but like good.
Right. Both. Yes. Good for Jett and good. I still go back, and this is just the skeptic in me. There have been moments in Jett's career where he looked somewhat good in garbage time against third stringers.
Sure.
And at some level, that's kind of what he's getting right now is time against mostly backups, third stringers. But like you mentioned, he has been the first guy off the bench the last 2 games and is playing against a certain level of NBA players. And he has been good. And so my thing is, again, it's the skeptic in me.
A certain level of NBA player. That's totally fair, though.
A skeptic in me. I want to see him do this when it matters in the regular season against, an NBA team's, top 8, 9, 10, even 10 guys. Put him against the second unit. I want to see him do that. The things that cannot be denied with Jett Howard, he still has a great shooting stroke. It is a quick shooting stroke. And if he is shooting the ball well, he's going to have a chance to play. Defensively, are there question marks still? Yes. But with this team that needs shooting, if that's what he's going to bring every night, he's going to have a chance to play for sure. And so I give him credit for that. But yeah, I need to see it against real NBA competition, which again, he's going to get that opportunity this whole team is going to get the opportunity very quickly. I know, once we get into next week, we'll talk about the week ahead and all those kinds of things. But you get Miami, you get Atlanta, you get someone else on Saturday. I can't remember. But yeah, it's going to be pretty quickly. We're going to see how this team does against some real NBA competition at the start of the regular season.
Where I'm at is like he at least, I think, deserves another look at this point where 2 weeks ago I was like, no, it's over. It's done, whatever. Not only like has he been shooting the ball well again, I always have felt like he's moved the ball well when he's had the opportunity. He just looks so much more poised, and more confident in these. Like, again, I don't think we've ever seen, I don't care what the context is, 3 straight games where we come away and we're like, huh, Jett looked okay tonight. Like, Jett was playable tonight. Like, you're not seeing like the major, at least, maybe I need to go back and watch the film, but I have not noticed like the major like mental lapses where it's like, dude, you know that you're on the floor right now and you're supposed to be guarding that guy that was in the corner who just cut right behind you for a wide open layup. Right. And we haven't seen that so far. And he did talk at Media Day about how he realized this offseason how much like having a routine and building good habits matters. And my response to that was like, brother, you should have realized that after the first year when you weren't really seeing the floor. Like, why did it take you to get to this point for, maybe you to start to figure some of those things out? But if it's genuine and he has figured that out and it's allowed him to get to another level, like, I wanted to ask you, because I know you've been concerned about this for a little bit. Do you feel any differently about the depth of this team as opposed to like a couple weeks ago?
A mixed bag. First off, what we've seen from Jace Richardson so far is a pretty big plus in the depth category. Same thing as Jett Howard, though. I'm not going to give him a pass just because he's a rookie. We have not seen Jace Richardson do this against the top level of the NBA, right? I need to see it.
How about Noah?
Noah?
He looks more ready than I thought. I'm not ready to like throw him in there, but like,
I'm not.
If somebody's out and we've got to throw him in there, like, I'm not going to be like, oh, great.
Yeah.
Here we go again.
For me, right now, Noah is a very solid defensive body. I think offensively, he's going to give you next to nothing against the best, the true lineups that this team will face in the NBA. And that's not a knock on Noah. We knew he was more of a project, especially offensively. I do expect him to be good defensively, but offensively, I just don't see him contributing at all, this season. As far as the depth goes, I'm encouraged by Jace. And again, like you mentioned, Jett Howard, I'm encouraged by that. Those were some of the 2 guys that, again, I had the biggest question marks about. And they both fill needs of this team, right? Guys that can shoot the basketball, guys that can score. And to see them both have such a great start to the season, I think is highly, highly encouraging. I wanted to say one more thing about Jace, Jonathan, give you some props. It was Media Day. Jace was at the table, and you told me, I'm getting like, I don't want to say this because the guy left, but I'm getting like Cole vibes from this guy. And I looked at you, I was like, really? Like, yeah, he's got like the Cole, just the energy and I'm obviously paraphrasing.
Like his mannerisms and his cadence, the way that he talked,
the enthusiasm. Yeah. And the more I watch him, the more I'm like, I think you might have been onto something there, because obviously we watch him play, but like even just like the off the court stuff. Like, I loved watching him like at the pregame warmups and stuff. I don't know if you saw like on social media. I think it was the Friday game in Philadelphia. Just in his own world, doing his own dances and stuff, in the layup lines and all that kind of stuff. They put the Magic post on social media. And then now we see literally taking Cole's role in the middle of the team circle after the player introduction.
I didn't see that.
Oh yeah, so he's doing like how Cole would dance and stuff.
Of course,
Jace has been doing that, and I don't know if that's just because he's a rookie and the vets made him do it or whatever. But you watch him and it's just like he's just got this energy. And then I loved hearing him talk after the game on Sunday night, the first home game. How he's saying it was so cool to have, how Magic fans showed up for a preseason game. And he was like, I'm just so excited for the regular season. We've got the best fans in the NBA. I was just like, he's just got this like,
shucks.
I know. Yeah, we know. I'm just kidding. He's just got like this youthful energy, which again, you expect from a guy who's a rookie and all that kind of stuff. But I've really enjoyed, obviously, the success we've seen with him on the court, but just seeing kind of his energy off the court, I think has been really cool. And again, Cole's energy was a different level. It'll never be replaced. Like no one's going to be Cole in that category. Just the energy and the infectious, attitude. But Jace is his own person, and it's been kind of cool to see, him be able to start to show his personality a little bit more. That's all I gotta say. So I gotta give you props.
Oh, I appreciate that. No, it was just like listening to him talk. I was like, I feel like I'm listening to Cole talk, but I haven't seen that other stuff that you have brought up. So I need to go back and take a look at that. But I just want to ask you about the depth, because I know like that was your biggest thing. Like sure, like the top end talent looks great, but when we get into that second unit, but like I still have a lot of questions about Anthony Black, about Goga, about Jonathan Isaac. Like we've talked about this, but like Jace, again, a lot to still find out about him, what he's going to look like in real NBA games. Tyus, again, I don't want to take too much away from what we've seen through 3 games, but obviously we're excited to get Jalen back if and when, hopefully that's in the next couple of weeks here. And then to see Tyus in that second unit. But if Tyus isn't bringing it and maybe Jace isn't in the rotation from day one, like I do think there could be a little bit of competition for those minutes there. But like Tristan has been so good in, off the bench tonight starting, obviously looked so good all summer in Eurobasket. So I'm feeling really good about the depth, especially because when we're healthy, we should have like 2 of Franz, Paolo, Desmond, Jalen on the floor at any time, or at least one of those guys on the floor at any time. So I'm looking forward to Thursday. Again, I will be there. Christian will be outside of Kia filming the 6 Fan Show. So on your way out of Kia, if you're heading out towards Church Street, be sure to stop by, say what's up to Christian, give us some content for the 6 Fan Show. Looking forward to that. And then just looking forward to finally really getting this going for real. It was so good to see the Kia Center, to hear David and Jeff and Dante and everybody, but I'm ready for these babies to count.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially considering the opening night opponent, familiar foe. We've now seen the Heat twice in 8 days. Whatever version of the Heat this is, by the way, is not the real Heat.
We better smoke them.
Yes, I agree. But we also haven't seen them. I know they're not going to have Tyler Hero, but we haven't seen Bam yet. Did Bam play in Puerto Rico? I don't think he did. Did he? Maybe he did. I don't remember. We definitely didn't see him Sunday. And if he played in Puerto Rico, obviously he was very forgettable. So, but yeah, I agree. We should smoke him. But again, we just haven't seen
13 minutes from Bam, 12 from Andrew Wiggins,
right.
and 14 from Norman Powell.
That's right, because Wendell, kind of did some work on Bam in that game. I remember it now. That's why he was so quiet. Anyway, yeah. So I'm interested to see that, but yeah, on paper, you gotta just crush them. I know we're getting way ahead of ourselves. We got another preseason game, but yeah, I was thinking about that tonight. You just gotta crush this Miami team. You have to. If you're gonna set the tone for the season, just crush them. But let's focus on Thursday first. Let's see how this team looks. Like I really hope we can get to see some real lineups, some real rotations, and just, even if it's 3 quarters, just give us 3 quarters of a game of like taking it seriously, real rotations. If you want to rest guys in the 4th, whatever. But we haven't even had that yet. We haven't even had 3 quarters of everybody. And so I'd like to see that on Thursday.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Okay. That is going to do it for this one. Let's go ahead and wrap it up. Looking forward to Thursday. Let's get another dub, go undefeated in the preseason. Let's go ahead and end it. For Kevin Tucker, this has been Jonathan Osborne. You all have been listening to the 6 Man Show, and we will catch you guys next time. See ya.
Thanks for listening to the 6th Man Show. Be sure to subscribe on iTunes and Spotify to get new episodes downloaded directly to your phone. If you enjoyed the show, please take a minute to give us a 5-star rating and a review. It helps out the show a lot. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at 6 Man Show. We'll catch you guys next time. Go Magic!